welcome to another Checiegirl Creations video. So today I'll be creating in my paper towel journal. As the name says, was made with like paper towels being laid up to make the pages and bind it together. I'm going to create on these pages today. This is my second to last one, so soon I can do a flip through, which is cool. I shall have this in fast forward mode and I will have a voiceover so you know what's going on. So let's get on with the video. So normally I start off with paints, but I thought instead I would maybe use some spray. So I'm putting some paper to protect my previous pages. And I'm just using some purple, blue and green sprays. And I felt that maybe it would look a bit dark. And I kind of wanted to prime the page at the same time, so I'm going to go in and blend those colors with some chalk primer, and I'm using a flat brush. I find that's best for like this technique. It just kind of blends a bit better. So I've done that, so now I have a really nice light wash of color, and I'm just going to add some splashes using the same colors I used to spray before I let that dry. And I gave that a hit with my heat gun. So once that was dry, I'm now going to go in with some acrylic paint, and I'm going to use purple Viridian, I think. Oh, actually no, I didn't use Viridian. I used like this light yellow green, and I think I'll go in with like some blue mist, which is a really light blue. And I'm using a palette knife to apply that so I can like pick up all that really yummy texture from the page. The paper towels are just so textured from it all being laid up together. It's really nice when I want to pick that up. And I also added some yellow ochre, and I felt as if the purple was way too light. That's my favorite color, so I try to add like quite a bit of purple when I get the chance. And I'm going to like blend it all together and lighten the page just a little bit with some chalk primer, and I applied that with my fingers because I didn't want it to sit on the page too much like when I applied it with the palette knife. When using my finger or a paintbrush, I'm able to blend it in more. So I'm looking through my dictionary slash encyclopedia. I've been using this for both my mini journals for like the focal image. It's just perfect. It's quite a quick way to get a focal image without having to draw anything. So if you have a book like this, I would definitely say like you can use that. And what I've picked is like a stadium. And I'm kind of going with a kind of theatre kind of look to it. So now I'm going to color this book paper strip using the same colors I used for the page background. And once I've added that, I'm going to go over the whole thing with some chalk primer just to kind of push that color back a little bit so that when I write on it, it'll stand out. And I'm also going to add some color to the edge of my focal image. And I'm using my fingers for that. So the phrase, it took me a while to figure out what kind of like phrase I wanted, because I did want it to be like with the theatre, so you'll see that in a little bit. And I'm going through these papers. This was from one of my subscription boxes. That should actually still be available because that's for my September one, so I'll link that below. I'll have a link to all my subscription boxes below. And I'm just tearing that, so it'll have like a kind of white edge but with the color as well, so it'll still stand out. But it'll just be like another layer, and I'm going to stick that with some tacky glue. That's a really good glue for like when you're sticking on really textured pieces, which is also why I use it in this journal, because the pages are extremely textured, like I said before. And I felt as if that just wasn't enough matted for this image, so I'm going to stick that down on some book paper and tear around that as well. And that I found created enough layers for my focal image, and I'll also do that for the phrases. And I did that off camera just so I wouldn't bore you, and I stuck that down. I also edged like the image and the phrase with that stays on ink pad, like how I'm doing the page, and it says it was an amazing performance. So some of that did actually cut out because I was supposed to like have me edging the phrase and everything, but the camera didn't turn on like I thought it did. It wasn't actually recording. So I'm adding some white splashes as well as some gold ones just to add a little bit of shine. And every time I add the splashes, I am just going to dab some of that paint off from my phrase and focal image so that they don't get too like covered in stuff and hidden. And I'm going to go back over my phrase and make sure all those letters are nice and strong with my calligraphy ink with and pen. And I'm going to edge the phrases, and that just helps it stand out. So once I've done that, I will add some highlights with my Unable Signal, I believe. I did this a little while ago, so I've kind of forgotten all the steps. I also added some black splashes as well with using that ink. Black helps to ground, and then like white helps to make everything pop, which is why I always go in with my highlights like afterwards. And I'm just putting some chalk primer there so that I can add my signature when I'm finished. So I'm going to give it a good dry, because until it's dry, the Unable Signal won't really like draw over it very well. So I'm going to add those highlights, and then I'll go in and like kind of just doodle in a kind of white border. And I'll also doodle in some music notes. And the music notes, I go in with the white gel pen, then I go in with the black ink, and then I go in with some red paint. I just keep on going back and forth, but you'll see how it looks in the finished photos at the end. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and please do click that bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video, which tends to be every Monday. Do check out my latest newsletter. That'll have all information about like how my trip went, because I was away for like quite a few months, as well as where my new online shop is, because I had to move it. So that's all live, and all those links are down below. If you were inspired, please do tag me on Instagram if you create something, or you can join my Facebook group and share in there as well, because I would love to see your guys' creations. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you join me again for another arty video. Bye.